All right, we got the 2006 Mazda 6 Wagon, and we unfortunately have a leaking roof and also annoyingly a droopy headliner. So we are going to try to figure out how to fix that. I have a sneaking suspicion the leak is coming from the optional roof rails. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're gonna take you along with us and we're gonna figure it out together. All right, as we can see, a lot of the headliner is sagging. It looks like shit. It's kind of embarrassing, especially if you drive with the windows down, because all you see at the corner of your eye is the roof fabric just kind of like flapping in the wind. And we deserve better. The car deserves better. This thing's going to be around for a long time. It's still got low miles on it, so let's get this fixed. Also, the leaking roof is happening somewhere in this corner. So pretty sure it's those roof rails, but we'll see what we see when we take everything apart. So unfortunately we have a lot of disassembly that we have to do. It's gonna be really fiddly. So this piece of plastic needs to come off, this needs to come off because that is all in the way. This stuff has to come off. So first things first, getting these off, you can get a plastic trim tool or a flat blade screwdriver behind it. And when you pry it, it hinges from the bottom. That allows you to get to the 10 millimeter. These have a little plastic cover, which looks like this. And so it goes in there, and you can use a screwdriver or a plastic trim tool to pry off this side. I damaged this one a little bit, but casualty of war, my bad. And yeah, let's get all this stuff off and see what's next. With these little guys, you need a Torx bit, and so I got my Torx bit set that I got from AutoZone 1,000 years ago, and that will get those pieces off. Alright, so a lot of the stuff just pops off after we've unscrewed the 10 mils and the Torx bits. So this piece here has 4 of these clips, and then the piece for that pillar just has 1, but you do need to pull this piece off to really expose it. It was a little bit scary taking it off. It was bending in a weird way. I would definitely not do this on a cold day when the plastics are going to be brittle. I would definitely do it during the summer when it's hot, so that none of the plastics break, because that would be a total pain in the ass. Taking apart the passenger side piece, I see that it is supposed to have one of these little guys here. So it gets removed like all the others, and then that makes it so we can pop that piece off. Just like that. Eventually we're gonna have to take off this stuff. So for these, you can see there's a little spot to put like a screwdriver or a trim tool to pop that open. That should expose a screw. And pretty much the same thing over here. These should pop off, one on each side, and we should see screws or something, or bolts, and that should get that off. When it comes to this and that and similar stuff like that has no obvious pop location, we are going to have to be really careful with those, and I hope I don't break them, but if I do, I'll show you what not to do, and then you won't have to break them yourselves. And then we also have these clips here, which you can use your trim popping tool to get that open, but I have fingernails that are long enough, so you can just do that as well. Boom. A couple of those. Wow, that's nice. So, slowly but surely. The transmission of the motorhome had a companion flange on the back. So, got my tweaker pick You can get this at Harbor Freight, and it seemed to be the only thing small enough for me to really get in that hole. Whoops, get that open. Trying my best to film and not scratch the crap out of it, but there we go. And then that accesses another, I believe, Torx bit. So there we go. Annoyingly enough, the Torx bit on these pieces is a different Torx size than the other pieces we took off at the beginning. So keep in mind that they are different. All right, this bolt is a 12 millimeter. And now that that's off, this is getting pretty flexible. We're getting closer. But next I'm going to do the hand grabs and then those. And then I think after that we're going to go after the light fixtures. Good news! These come off pretty easy as well. So let's take a look at this. You pop this open and then there isn't a bolt. Instead, you just pull that out and then it pinches that in and then it just pulls off. So there's no bolts. You just do that on both sides and then that comes off. And then this uses the same exact Torx bit as the ones in the back that hold the net on. And voila! There we go, on to the next. Now we're in the front of the car. On the passenger side we have a grab handle, which on the driver's side we don't. Looks like it's going to be the same. And then with the sun visor, we have another little Torx bit there. So we're going to take that stuff off. Alright, so this is what the side looks like that you don't see when you're taking it apart. You basically have to undo the screw and then you have to kind of lever that hook out in a certain way because it does stay in place with the screw gun. And then you also have to unplug the wiring for the little light that illuminates when you open the mirror. And then to get the clip to unclip, you have to dig through the foam and push a button inside of there, and then that releases the clip. So that's how you get those off. Got one more to go. Alright, so how do you get these pieces off? Well, you can take a screwdriver, flat blade, and push that little tab there, and then you can cantilever it open, and then you'll push the other side, and then that releases it. So by pushing those tabs there, you're basically squeezing those in so that it doesn't clip, and then it will come down. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, so just take your time, do one side first, and then you should be able to get the second side. Just don't break it, because you don't want to live with that piece being broken. Progress continues. We've got all of that stuff disconnected. So I think what we're going to have to do is remove these. Probably not all the way. We just need to remove them enough to where they're out of the way. Because this is all free up here. Still not sure what I'm going to do about this and this. But, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, we definitely need to pull back the A pillar trim and then the B pillar trim. We need to pop forward, which is also going to involve us pulling the weather seal out of the way. So we're going to have stuff kind of dangling. It'll be half removed, but hopefully not fully removed, because we just need it to be out of the way so that it's not capturing the headliner in place. So that is the next step, and then we'll finally do the lights and everything that I've been talking about. I do have a sneaking suspicion that maybe some of them are just connected to the headliner and not connected to the roof, and so they don't have to be removed from the headliner, but some of them do feel like they are holding the headliner up. So, you know, once I get it down, I'll be able to show you, but that is my sneaking suspicion of how this is about to go. Okay, got a bunch of stuff drooping down. I think the B pillar trim is popped enough that we'll be able to get it out. The A pillar trim is being incredibly annoying. I don't know why. That doesn't help. There is a plastic clip like right around here, that just feels like it's gonna break if I pull it any harder. It's really hard to see. But while I was loathing about how difficult that was being, I realized that there are more Torx bits in the sunglass holder. So that's super exciting. Hopefully undoing those will just allow pretty much everything up front to hang down. So let's find out. Got it off. Okay, so what you do is you do those 2 Torx bits that are under the sunglasses holder, and then on the side there are these tabs that get pushed in. I was able to use the plastic trim popper to get under there and pop those without damaging the headliner fabric. And then of course there's a little clip that unclips really easily, which is the electricity for the lights and stuff. Also, this piece, I assume there's an option for more expensive versions of the car, and there's a thing there. So with that, this is just a blank off plate, but this one comes off by pushing in on the sides, those 2 silver metal clips there, and then it just pops off. So if you need to get that off, that should be the same mechanism that holds it on. So good luck with that. But we're done in the front for now, because it's pretty much just hanging on by the trim that's in the way. And then we finally need to take off the light plastic pieces in the back, and then that should be exciting. So we've got the back seat lights here, and it has these 2 silver clips on the side. They put up a fight. I got lucky, and basically this one, even though it's not supposed to, it popped off and out. I think it's because I bent that piece of plastic. But yeah, it was incredibly hard to see what was going on. This eventually just popped out, and then I was able to get it to come out by, you know, pulling this side down first, because that clip fell off, and then that stayed there, and put it back together. And I think it'll go back together just fine. But I don't have a super good answer on how to do that, other than maybe incredibly difficultly you try to get a screwdriver in there, which will release that so it can go up. I don't know, man. It was quite the pain in the butt. Hopefully that helps you understand. And then of course a little electrical clip, which was super easy to undo. So that should need no explanation there. Super excited to show you. I finally figured this one out. This one was really kicking my butt. I was trying to get it from the sides. I was looking, you know, I was pulling this down, looking at it. I was like, it's clearly attached somehow, but there's no exposed screws. So what you do is there's a tiny cutaway on the top here where you can get a screwdriver in there or a trim tool if you're smart, and then this pops off, and then you have 2 more Torx bits. Also, this piece here, you can see that it has the clips on the side, so trim tool, get that in there, push that button in, one side out, other side out, boom, that's off. So let's get that off, and I think we're freaking ready to pull it out. I'm so excited. Okay, people, it's beginning to happen. So things to know about: there is a water line that gets unplugged right here. I assume that's for the rear washer sprayer. I don't know why the heck it's plumbed into the headliner, but that's what they chose to do. And then on the other side, you have the wiring harness clip for all of that stuff that was in the roof. And this clip was really annoying. It put up a fight, didn't want to come out. But you can see that if you get a trim tool in there, you can you know, pop one side in just like everything else, push one side in, pull it out, and then get the other side out as well. The front is still putting up a fight because of the A pillar and B pillar trims, but I think if I keep shifting it backwards, then we will be able to get it out. And yeah, I'm doing this alone. I do not recommend that because it is bending. It's bending the headliner pretty bad because the weight of it just buckled it there. So that's a little bit unfortunate. I think it'll be okay, especially because the product we're starting with was pretty terrible. So I think any improvement we make will be good. But yes, I do not recommend doing this alone. You should have a friend. That way you're not breaking the headliner piece. So don't be like me. Wish me luck. Let's see if I can get this to shimmy on out of here. So the headliner is totally unattached, except there was one remaining thing, and it is unfortunately that stupid water line for the rear window sprayer. And I don't know where its next connection is to undo, but it seems to be way deep down in the A pillar, and I do not want to take apart any of the dash, and I can't figure out how to get the A pillar trim off. So what we're gonna have to do, what I'm going to do, is I'm going to cut the line, and then just so that we can reconnect it when we're putting it all back together, I had to steal off of my MR2 this piece, and this will allow us to cut that line in two pieces, and then when we're putting it back together, we can put both of the cut ends on this, so that way when you go to use the rear window sprayer, it'll, one, spray water on the rear window, and two, not shoot the passenger in the face and your brand new redone headliner with your windshield washer fluid, which is what would happen if that was just left cut unopened. So if you're doing this, make sure you get something like this, because you're gonna need that if you do what I'm doing and cut that. So be warned about that. Headliner out on the ground. Not sure what we're gonna do yet. It kind of looks like the fabric shrunk over time, because if you push the fabric all the way back on the thing, you can see that it's pulling out of this area. So not sure what we're gonna do yet, but we are going to figure out where the roof is leaking, because that is a big part of the headliner being out in the first place. So we are staring at the roof of the car. There's that weird back seat belt thingy, and we can see there that we have the bolts that hold on the roof rails. So I think that's where it's leaking from. And yeah, we're gonna close me in the car and run the garden hose and see if we can see it leak. So day two, I just did my shopping for the parts that we need. So the driver's side roof rail leaks, and there are 5 10mm nuts that hold it in place. I've already undone those. 2, 3, 4, 5 by the front. It was also hard to pull it up just because of the old glue, and so we're gonna clean these up really good and then RTV the crap out of them and bolt it back together, and then we should have a waterproof roof, and then we can continue again with our headliner project. I went to Hobby Lobby and found this gray fabric. I thought about it last night, and it seems to me like the original fabric shrunk over time, because even if you push it down so that it meets the contour, you can see that it's stretching to do that. So I got 3 yards long, 1 yard wide, which is way bigger than what the thing is. We'll pull off the old gray fabric. We'll remove as much of this stupid foam stuff as possible, because that's not going to help the new fabric stay glued to it if that stuff is just there and awful. and then, you know, we'll have to use a razor blade or scissors to cut out all of the holes and then do all of that. At AutoZone, I got 3M headliner adhesive. I think this was 25 bucks. And super weather strip adhesive is the stuff I'm going to use for sealing the roof bars again. So that's the plan. I'm going to clean the roof bars area and get ready for the weather strip sealant to go on. Alright, I gasket sealed the crap out of the 5 holes. Bolted all the 10 millimeters back up, and we're going to let that do its thing and dry before we start spraying it with water again to see if it leaks. And so in the meantime, we're going to move over to this. So the next step is going to be removing this plastic piece. It unfortunately doesn't just pop out. It has like plastic rivets, which I think are going to have to be destroyed. And so it'll probably end up having to be glued down at the end instead of secured how it is from the factory, which is unfortunate. But yeah, we're going to rip off the gray. Then we're going to brush off or sand off the old glue, which is this stuff. And then that'll give us a clean surface to then add the new fabric. Alright, so I've removed the final 2 pieces. So up by, this is the front of the car, this is where your sunglass holder is. There is this piece, and basically to get this off you just bend these metal tabs because they come in and then they clip around the back. So that's super easy. As long as you have the headliner out, it's super easy because you can just reach in there and bend them out of the way. And then this piece was the bummer. That is the piece for, like, I can't remember what it does. It's like a child seat anchor or something like that. These 4 metal clips go on the back side of these prongs, and it didn't seem like there was much of a way to get them off without kind of breaking stuff. So I used wire snips and I cut those really short, and then I was able to get the razor blade behind them and pop them off. Now when I do reassembly, they're probably not going to hold as good as they used to, so I'm going to do glue and the clips, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep it up there and out of the way. So this is ready for me to pull off the gray fabric. Wish me luck. Alright, so the fabric pulled straight off. So I just touched this. This is how stupid this original glue is. You literally just kind of touch it and it balls up and falls off. So no wonder the headliner doesn't hold up over time. But now I'm going to start the difficult and awful process of getting all of this off down to this, I don't know what it is, plastic or fiberglass or something, backing, because that is going to be the material that we build off of with the new glue and the new fabric. So, alright. Okay, so like an hour and a half later, not exactly sure. Got all the glue off. I literally just rubbed it with my hand until it balled up and fell off, and then I used the little vacuum to vacuum it up. Wasn't fun. My neck hurts now, but I did it. I recommend doing it on a table probably, because doing it on the ground sucked. Okay, so now that it's clean, also the reason why you want it to be so perfectly clean is if you think about, if you're spraying glue on here to hold on the next level, son of a bitch, I gotta vacuum up more. You know, if you were to spray glue on that, well then what's preventing that from just falling off again? You know, you need a clean surface for the glue to attach to. That way you know it's actually going to stay looking nice for a long, long period of time. So, alright, I thought I was done. I guess I'm not. I'm going to rub it again just to make sure I've got all the stuff off. Maybe do it with gloves. I didn't do it with gloves, but do at your own risk. Alright, so this is the fabric that I bought. It's decently thick, which I thought was going to be good. I don't want the glue to show through, so hopefully, I was afraid if I used a thin material, then you would, when it was done, it would look like crap because the glue would be visible. It would look like, you know, kind of like wet fabric or something, just terrible. So, went with the thickest fabric. As you saw earlier, it's an extremely similar color to what we started with. 72 inches long, which I think is 2 yards wide. That's standard. And then I bought 3 yards long because they sell it in yards. And as you can see, there's a nice amount of overlap everywhere. I read the spray adhesive directions. They were not very helpful. Basically said to don't get it in your eyes. The thing that made me the most upset about the spray adhesive instructions is it says it's headliner adhesive. And then in the directions, it says that it may not work in an upside down situation, which is exactly what a headliner is. So that's stupid, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. I think this is going to work just fine. I think what I'm going to do, that line is where it was folded on the spool, so I'm using that as kind of a good way to keep it straight. Not that it has to be perfect, because we have plenty of excess around all the sides, but I think what I'm going to do is pull this back a couple inches, like so. And then I'm going to glue this part first. And then, you know, put it down, let that glue and settle and hold. And then I think I'm going to unroll it backwards and then kind of like 1 foot section at a time, you know, glue it and roll it. And I'm going to try to do it really slow. I'm going to try to take my time. So you don't have to cut the holes yet. So once it's all glued on there, then we're going to trim off all the excess. We'll be able to take a razor blade and cut, you know, a cross pattern in all of the holes. And then we'll get to that later. But don't worry about cutting holes at this stage, because that is not necessary. So I got about 80-90% done, and I ran out of the spray adhesive. So if you're playing along at home, maybe get 2 cans, and then of course I go back to AutoZone and they didn't have another can of the 3M. So hopefully this works just as good or better. I have no idea. It's a little bit less expensive, but just wanted to update you. Maybe have 2 cans. Okay, so it's glued down for the most part. Couple places that I need to help massage it down, but for the most part it's on. It did not end perfectly at the front, so I ended up with a ton of excess here, so I cut it. This side I folded down, you can kind of see where it lays down there. Then with this side I use the glue to fold it over on itself and then fold it over. So hopefully with the rear view mirror being in this area, you just won't see any of that. So that was a little unfortunate that that wasn't perfect, but this whole front section where the visors go and everything is so three-dimensional. It was really hard to get the fabric to wanna play. But anyways, now we need to start cutting it to size and making sure that the edge of everything is properly glued, so that way it doesn't, you know, come undone later on. So this is going to also take a lot of time. I think because I had to go to AutoZone again to get more glue, this entire process of just gluing it on has been an hour and a half. So whole day project. So alright, I'm going to start trimming everything, and then we'll be ready to kind of put it back in the car, which is super exciting. Okay, so I trimmed off all of the big excess, and so now we're basically going to go around and check that everywhere that there's an edge, it is properly glued down. And then it would be nice to flip this over, which is scary because I need to find something clean to put it on, because I would like to also glue a little bit of this excess to the other side, so that way it'll just always, forever, hopefully, look nice and folded over. So that's kind of the next part of the process. We also need to cut out all of these holes. This fabric is kind of a hard one to work with the scissors. It sometimes doesn't want to cut. So that is the next step, but we are getting there, people. We are getting there, and it's taking a long time, but we're getting there. Okay, people, it's hot. I'm tired, my back hurt, my neck hurts, but I think we're ready for me to start loading in all of the plastic things that I can now. And then my wife and I are gonna put it in the car, and then we can start reassembling everything, which is super exciting because I'm looking forward to this project being done, because it has been difficult and time consuming. And yeah, I think it's going to turn out great though, so that's cool. Alright, so installation is the opposite of removal, so I didn't film hardly anything, but hopefully you get the idea. The one thing I did want to touch base on is this piece in the way back. And what I did was, well, I had to cut the plastic rivets to get it out, and so I built up the negative space on the edges with a bunch of electrical tape, and now I'm going to run some super glue on it, and then when I put it up in here, the super glue will keep it glued to the roof, the headliner, and yeah, the tape fills the voids. So unfortunately, yeah, I couldn't think of a better solution, so hopefully this works out. But I just wanted to show that really quick. Alright, so the car is totally done, put back together. And, you know, if you look directly at it, you can see that it's not the original, but it is also not drooping anywhere. And, yeah, I think it turned out really good for as inexpensive as the entire project was. And we also got the roof to stop leaking, so I'm going to call this a big, massive success. Looking back now, yeah, I wish I had got the headliner on there better. I learned don't go in like half circles with the glue. You want to do kind of like a printer, you know, all the way over. But yeah, good luck on yours. This project took me 3 days, and the second day was an all-day event basically, so definitely give yourself an entire weekend or more to do this one if you have to fix the leaky roof and the headliner. Good luck, guys.